Good morning, students. I hope that I am audible to all of you. And let's just continue with the class. Let's see the information of the class. It's a very small form we are going to read. The road not taken. That's also all about like making choices. The road not taken, written by Robert Frost. The road not taken in students here, poet is talking about the road which has not been taken by the poet, which was having some sort of problems or disturbance or whatever it was. We'll read further in the poem. So let's see the warm-up exercise first. Given below are a few words related to making difficult choices and decisions. Complete them. Three-letter word starting with F. Three-letter word starting with F. Now, students, you need to do it yourselves. The next one is seven-letter word with Q, and at the end it would be Y. Seven-letter word with D starting and A with ending. And again, 11-letter word with P and ending with T. So this will be your today's task, students. You just need to solve it yourselves. Right, everyone? So let's go to the poem. That's very interesting poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Students, that's very important. You just need to concentrate on this. And sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. To where it bent in the undergrowth. Here, students, what we get here, like, what we get something very different. It means it is like talking about two roads. Now you need to see what it's all about, two roads. How it is like two roads. Here, poet has symbolized two roads with the decision. Like whenever you go to do anything, you have got choices to do it in a either way. Means you have got two ways to do with that thing. And the point is, how do you do that thing? How do you do that thing? That's very important. How do you manage it basically? That's the main point over there. How do you make it happen? So here poet is talking to us and asking us like two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both. Here two roads symbolizes two choices in life. Like we have two choices in life. What we choose, that's up to we people basically. And the poet again finding it difficult to make a choice, which is to be the best, or you can say which is to be the better by deciding, by just choosing. So he feels sorry, and sorry, he says, so what happens, students? What we see, the poet is talking and feeling sorry because he found it difficult to make a choice, which one is to decide. So he, being a traveler, stood there for a long time. What we get here, you can see in the picture, it is also given. He stood there. What is saying? And be one traveler, long I stood, means poet, stood there for a long time to decide and looked down one as far as I could. And what we get here, for a long time I was standing, determining and deciding which way to continue traveling. Means there were two ways. One, you can see in the picture very clear. Second one having a little bit grass over there in the left corner. So the poet was in a fix. Which one is to be decided? And looked down one as far as could. And he was just thinking, he noticed that one of the roads bent in the trees. You can see in the left corner, students, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Undergrowth means like it talks about roads bent in the trees, like more trees were there and shrubs, and finally disappeared. And after some time, after going some time, it disappeared. Disappeared means like there were too much grass and there were trees over there. So many trees either side of the road. So it was disappeared. It just disappeared. So poet just tried to understand what does it mean by. He looked there, he stood there for a few minutes and he tried to find out how it is. The next one then took the other as just as fair and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had borne them really about the same. Now you see, then look the other as just as fair. After seeing that one of the roads basically one disappeared into the undergrowth, the poet decides to take the other one. So now see students, again internet is disturbing, can't do anything in that case. You just need to have patience to maintain the decorum of the class to complete it. As just as fair can have multiple meanings, like perhaps the poet wants to say that the road is beautiful, as well as, or the poet can say that this is fair to choose. Means there can be multiple meanings of this, as just as fair. As what we got there, like as he was just going forward, what he found having perhaps the better claim. Better claim refers to like many travelers have used it. They have gone through this. They have passed through this road just as much as the other. We can observe how, because it was grassy and wooded where, we can observe like how the poet quickly goes back to the statement. First, that's very important, students. He says this road is untraveled. First one. That untraveled means many people did not go through this. Then, as he walks, finds it equally traveled. And after some time, he finds like that's equally traveled as the first one. Right? Also, the poet says that the path wanted wear. Wanted wear means like students, it talks about was hardly used, means maximum part of it, it's not used. People have not been through this. Wanted wear basically, right? Or people are passing through this through though, as for that, the passing there. Passing means walking on the road. People have been on the road of this, right? Though had warned them really about the same. What it means, only humans have wants. Thus, the poetic device here used like personification. This we'll discuss a little bit later, students. That's very important. Had warned them really about the same. It's like he was just in a fix and he was just planning to either go one way. That means, students, it is connecting to our life. If we ever go to do anything, we get choices to do or not to do, or do it in either way, which way it should be done. So he was in a fix basically, which is to be followed, which is to be chosen or choice basically. And both that morning lay equally. The poet says here that both the roads were covered with leaves that morning. In the morning, both the road were covered with equally, means with the leaves in the morning. Oh, in leaves, no step had trodden black. Trodden means, students, trampled or walked upon, like on the more in the morning, basically leaves were there. No one has gone through that. Trodden black. Trodden black means it talks about walked upon. No one has walked upon on these leaves. Oh, I kept the first for another day. And here poet talks, perhaps that morning he was the first to travel on that road. He was the first one basically. No one has gone on this road. And the first one to go on this, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Now, what we get here, students, what it talks about, like he was the first one, like as he saw both the roads, no leaves were trodden, no leaves were fallen on the road. It's not like had not turned black by the steps of the traveler, which travelers have not been on these both roads. He was the first one. I doubted if I should ever come back. However, the poet is thinking like it seems that he regards his decision slightly, just to wonder if he ever get to come back and take the other road basically. Sometimes see what happens, we take a decision and we have to take the decision back, and then again we have to restart. So the poet was thinking like that, I might not be trapped in this type of situation that I would have to come back. The poet was thinking basically. The next what happens, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So see students, the last stanza, what it talks about in a way that years from now, somewhere in the future, the poet feels that he will look back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, mixed with relaxed. After like years back, when people would talk to me somewhere ages and ages hence, means after a long time back, will look back, then decide whether the choice he made, the choice means which road he chose, or like for doing any work, the choice he decided was the correct one or not. This may be indicating that making a choice out of two objectives is responsible for our future, and that makes all the difference. Now see students, what we understand here, that poet is just thinking if he takes the decision after some time, or you can say ages and ages is used, after a long time he would look back and then he would be able to say like the decision he took, whether it was correct or not, but it would be discussed. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and the choice may bring us to the right or wrong decision. Like students, that's very important that we need to see how it is basically. So I took the one less traveled by. Here poet is saying, I'll telling about my choice to the people. I'll have a relax. Sigh is realizing a deep breath, expressing happiness, relief, or it can be in the sadness also. What type of experience I would have here. And then after long years, I would talk after about this decision. This can bring me anything. It can bring the relax, or it can bring the sadness. It can bring anything to me. Right, everyone? And that has made all the difference. So here poet talks about if the choice proves out to be right, it will be a sigh of happiness, and it will be difference in the decisions. This will create the difference among the decisions, right everyone? So here poet talks about the decisions we take in our life. We have got many choices, but which one we choose, that depends upon us. How do we choose them? What sort of things we just apply in our life, right everyone? So I hope so you all have understood. Let's talk about the poetic devices about the poem basically. First of all, metaphor is used. Metaphor, when you do comparison without the words, like two roads are compared with decisions or choices, right? Decisions or choices. Two roads are compared with decisions and choices. That's why we call it a metaphor, because no particular word is used for these. No other particular word is used for these two roads. These are the symbols of decisions or like choices. So that's why it is called, like here, metaphor is used. Right, everyone? I suppose you have understood, because we have written this very much carefully in our notebooks. Earlier poems we completed. Metaphor means when we do comparison between two things without words. Next one, students, personification is used. There is a wanted wear word. It gives two definition of poetic devices. First one is your alliteration. Both the words are starting with W. That gives the sense of alliteration. Write it down. Alliteration is one of the poetic devices, which means like when two different words starts with the same sound word. That's wanted. Wear. The first letter is W. W of both the words. So it gives the sense like it is having alliteration. And the second one, wanted wear. The grass, it was wanted wear means it is a non-living thing, grass, and it is compared with the human beings, like with human beings. When something is compared, non-living things are compared with human beings, living things, that's called personification. So this is called personification, students. Personification is used here. When wanted wear is giving two sense, personification and alliteration. Now the next one, go to the first stanza, students. In the first stanza, there is an anaphora. Anaphora is like what? When the lines start with the same word. You can see these three lines are starting with and story and sorry, I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. So here it is called anaphora, anaphore. Anaphora means when the lines start with the same word is called anaphora, right everyone? And in the same three lines, there is another poetic device that is called, students, enjambment. These three lines both stood good. How it is? It is called enjambment. Enjambment, students. Enjambment. Enjambment. Enjambment means when the lines end without comma, full stop, or semicolon. You see in all the three poems, there is no comma, no full stop, but these are over. And go to the next line. This is called enjambment. That's a poetic device, students. The next one is repetition is used, students. You can see somewhere Aziz and AD, last stanza. Somewhere Aziz and Aziz's hands. This ages and ages give the poetic device repetition. Poetic device repetition has been used in this poem, students, right everyone? So these poetic devices have been used much in the poem. Now, if any one of you want to ask anything, you can raise your hand. I will just help you people to sort out any sort of doubt you have got. Otherwise, it is over. Thank you very much.